We are living in a birding boom. Which is not a surprise if you're at Point Pelee in May, when cars line up at 4 in the morning and massive crowds assemble at the tip to catch sight of northbound migrants. From the outside, birding might seem odd, quaint, old-fashioned, but it's actually a fairly modern pastime. And today we're gonna take a whirlwind tour of how it evolved and flourished, with the help of ladies' fashion, 2 world wars, and a pandemic. For centuries, if we're not eating them, collecting is our default with birds. It isn't nice. At best, it means caging them, but more often it means shooting them to collect their skins and eggs. And at the start of the 19th century, this is still how ornithology gets done. Birds are killed and reduced to a study skin that can be examined leisurely and then shoved in a drawer. But collections increasingly become a status symbol as well. In fact, through the 1800s, faster travel and more effective firearms turned collecting into something of an obsession among the well-to-do. At the same time, a rising trend in women's clothing demands ludicrous hats topped with ever more ludicrous numbers of feathers, if not entire birds. The worldwide slaughter threatens to wipe out whole species in the name of fashion, science, and status. It's a real low point in history to be a bird. But it also coincides with a rising public interest in natural history, and in response to the rampant killings, societies finally form on either side of the Atlantic to protect them. The Royal Society for the Protection of Birds and the Audubon Society are both still going strong. Finally, people start to see the value in observing birds for their own sake. Ornithologist Edmund Selous has an epiphany with a couple European nightjars, watching behavior he'd never have seen if he, shot them. He starts to write passionately about the scientific merit of observing instead of killing birds. In 1902, he publishes Bird Watching, marking the first written record we have of that phrase. And advances in optics make birdwatching much more viable. The design of modern binoculars was only patented in 1893. The first birding field guide was still called Birds Through an Opera Glass. So as the 20th century rolled on, birdwatching, eventually just birding, replaces bird killing. Powerful, durable binoculars are developed thanks in part to the World Wars, and birding becomes a welcome distraction for soldiers, even in POW camps. In 1940, an enterprising serviceman rallies his fellow inmates to record data on bird observations. He gets the support of Germany's leading ornithologist and publishes a monograph using their data. By the 1950s, birding has completely shaken off its eccentric upper-crust roots and emerges as an egalitarian hobby. Or should that be egalitarian? Never mind. Even today, with our infinite entertainment options, it's on the rise. In the 1970s, 4% of North Americans are interested in birding. By 2006, that's gone up to 20%. It's considered one of the fastest growing hobbies in the world. And maybe its biggest boost, weirdly, was thanks to COVID-19. Cities conveniently locked down just in time for spring migration, with a stir-crazy population itching for something to do. Birding websites and apps saw massive spikes in traffic in those first few months, and we're still riding that wave. And that's how we get back to these crowds at Point Pelee, always a renowned birding destination, but now more popular than ever. And these days they come armed with tools previous generations of birders could only dream of. Just like optics revolutionized birding at the turn of the 20th century, a new wave of technology is doing the same right now and turning every birder into a citizen scientist. And that is what we'll be exploring next time.